please search Water Aid Zakat. Your donation can help buy pipes and taps for clean water, bricks and cement for washing stations, and of course, soap. This Ramadan, please donate your zakat and sadaqah to give the gift of clean water to those families that need it most. To donate, please search Water Aid Zakat. Thank you.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Well, this is sick.
Get your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI and save up to £744 when you trade in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra on 3. Life needs a big network.
Sun Bingo. Are you gonna bingo?
I think I'm gonna bingo. Hey, Charlie64, are you gonna bingo?
Hey, Sassy Sam. Yeah, I'm gonna bingo. Hey, Geordie George, are you gonna bingo?
Not right now, mate. Maybe later?
Okay. Has a 93, are you gonna bingo?
Yeah, I'm defo gonna bingo.
Join the fun at Sun Bingo. Are you gonna bingo?
People's Postcode Lottery's big spring win is back.
Yes, in the April draws, you and your neighbours could win a share of
£25.4 million! Own or rent, if your door is in the draw, you're in with a chance to win.
Could your door be a winning one?
Sign up before midnight on the 31st of March.
A share of £25.4 million must be won. So,
is your door in the draw?
Family life. It's made of ups and downs and those little moments. But should the unthinkable happen to you? Life insurance from Legal & General can help look after monthly bills, the roof over their heads, childcare costs, and most importantly, your family. Because no one protects more families in the UK than us. Premiums start from £5 a month and they never rise. Plus there's a £100 gift card after you apply. Legal & General. Ensure life goes on.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday edition of the World Report with me, Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. The Dalai Lama has sparked a fresh clash with Beijing after reportedly declaring that his successor will be born outside China. In his new book, Voice for the Voiceless, the Tibetan spiritual leader has written that his reincarnation, in fact, will take place in a free world, ensuring his legacy remains untouched by Beijing's influence. Now, this directly challenges China's long-standing claim that it has the sole right, in fact, to choose the next Dalai Lama. Beijing has already hit back, calling the Dalai Lama a separatist and insisting that Tibet is an inseparable part of China. The 89-year-old spiritual leader fled Tibet in 1959 after a failed uprising against Chinese rule and has lived in India ever since. Now, with his health declining and succession in focus, a power struggle is brewing. China has said that any successor not approved by Beijing will not be recognized. In a major escalation, Ukraine launched its largest drone attack on Moscow, killing one person and injuring at least 3 others. This is according to prelim reports. Russian officials say 91 drones targeted Moscow, forcing flight suspensions at the city's airports. Russia claims its air defenses intercepted 337 drones in all, including 126 in Kirks, where Ukrainian forces have in fact been retreating. Now, the attack coincides with upcoming US-Ukraine talks in Saudi over potential peace negotiations. Moscow, meanwhile, remains on high alert following the massive drone assault. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Jeddah ahead of a crucial US-Ukraine meeting on peace negotiations with Russia. Now, during the meeting in Jeddah, the Crown Prince underscored the kingdom's support for international efforts to resolve Ukraine's crisis and achieving peace. With the US cutting military aid, Kiev is now pushing for stronger Middle East support. Talks with Washington, in fact, are scheduled tomorrow amid high hopes for progress. On the other side, America's top diplomat Marco Rubio met with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Jeddah on Monday, ahead of holding talks with the Ukrainian delegation on ending the three-year war with Russia. During Tuesday's meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Rubio, Kiev will propose a ceasefire covering the Black Sea and long-range missile strikes, as well as the release of prisoners. If Ukraine and U.S. reach an understanding acceptable to Trump, it could, in fact, accelerate his administration's push for peace talks. U.S. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, is set to visit Moscow this week, in fact, to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin. Witkoff has played a major role in negotiating an end to the Ukraine war. Now, this visit comes amid rising speculation about a potential peace framework, with Trump aiming to ease U.S.-Russia relations. In response to Witkoff's visit, Russian Foreign Ministry has said that contacts between Russia and the United States are now quite intensive. PM Modi is on a two-day visit to Mauritius, where he is the chief guest for the country's National Day celebrations on the 12th of March, Wednesday. A contingent of, in fact, the Indian Defence Forces, along with a ship from the Indian Navy, will also participate in these celebrations. During the visit, several agreements are also expected to be signed in areas such as capacity building, trade, and combating cross-border financial crimes. Mauritius holds strategic importance for India, given its location in the Western Indian Ocean and deep cultural ties, with nearly 70% of its 1.2 million population being of Indian origin. That's right, more than 70%. Upon his arrival on Tuesday, PM Modi received a warm welcome marked by a traditional Bihari cultural performance called Geet Gavai. Recognized by UNESCO in 2016, this Bhojpuri musical tradition combines songs, prayers, and dance, and remains a significant part of Indian diaspora's heritage in Mauritius. U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is set to visit India as part of a multi-nation trip to the Indo-Pacific region. Gabbard's visit, in fact, marks the first by a top White House official to India under the Trump 2.0 administration. She emphasized that strengthening relationships and communication is in fact key to achieving Trump's vision of prosperity. The visit comes shortly after PM Narendra Modi's visit to the US in February, where he met Gabbard and reaffirmed, in fact, US-India ties. The US Senate voted Monday to confirm Lori Chavez de Rema as the country's labor secretary. It is a cabinet position that puts her in charge of enforcing federally mandated worker rights and protections at a time when the White House is trying to eliminate thousands of government employees. Now, Chavez de Rema will oversee the Department of Labor, one of several executive departments named in lawsuits challenging the authority of billionaire Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to order layoffs and access sensitive government data. The Labour Department had nearly 16,000 full-time employees and a proposed budget of $13.9 billion for fiscal year 2025. Some of its vast responsibilities include, in fact, reporting the U.S. unemployment rate, regulating workplace health and safety standards, investigating minimum wage, child labour and overtime pay disputes, and applying laws on union organizing and unlawful terminations as well. The U.S. Agriculture Department has cancelled over $1 billion in federal funding that allowed schools and food banks to, in fact, purchase food from local farms. Now, the funding was part of two programs, the Local Food for Schools Cooperative Agreement and the Local Food Purchase Assistance, both of which have now been terminated. Around $660 million that schools expected for 2025 have been axed, impacting over 40 states. Now, critics have said that instead they've warned that this move could hurt local farmers and increase food insecurity. Meanwhile, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, a Democrat herself, castigated the administration for the decision. Government Healey said in a statement, Donald Trump and Elon Musk have declared that feeding children and supporting local farmers are no longer priorities. And it's just the latest terrible cut with which real impact on families across Massachusetts. Several hundred students have blocked the entrance to the public TV station RTS in Belgrade, blowing whistles and sounding horns late Monday as a part of ongoing protests in Serbia that have in fact gripped the country for the past 4 months. Students accuse the public TV channels of biased reporting and siding with the government and President Alexander Vučić for the duration of the demonstrations. The Serbian president was the main guest, in fact, on Monday evening's RTS News Bulletin, but it's not yet clear what triggered this evening's protest. Serbian students are also leading mass protests demanding responsibility after a deadly canopy collapse at the train station in Novi Sad, which killed 15 students on the 1st of November last year. A federal New York judge has blocked any efforts by President Donald Trump's administration to deport Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian activist at Columbia University who, in fact, was arrested on Saturday night until a conference on Wednesday. However, it's unclear whether he will appear in court on Wednesday or not. But his arrest is the latest escalation by Trump in what he terms the first arrest of many to come to crack down on pro-Palestinian demonstrations on college campuses. Now, meanwhile, Columbia faculty have condemned the ICE arrest. Take a listen.
It is beyond the pale. It's targeted, retaliatory, and an extreme attack on the First Amendment. And it reeks of McCarthyism. The First Amendment protects everyone in the United States. And this unlawful arrest and detention are obviously intended to intimidate and chill speech that the Trump administration doesn't like, not just here in New York, but all across the country. Political speech or speaking out should never be the basis of punishment or lead to deportation. And what's more, Mr. Khalil, like every other green card holder, has a right to due process of law.
Japan's trade minister has failed to secure a tariff exemption from the U.S. ahead of a 25% duty. That's right, a 25% duty on steel and aluminum imports set to take effect from the 12th of March. Despite Tokyo highlighting its strong economic ties with Washington, no exemption has been granted. Meanwhile, talks also focused on increasing Japanese investment in U.S. energy, including a proposed gas pipeline in Alaska. The UN Security Council will meet privately on Wednesday to discuss Iran's growing uranium stockpile, now enriched close to weapons grade. Requested by 6 member states, including the US and UK, the meeting in fact aims to assess whether Iran is breaching nuclear obligations or not. With time running out before international sanctions expire in October, tensions are rising. Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested at Manila airport on an ICC warrant for crimes against humanity linked to his alleged deadly drug war. Now, Duterte, accused of thousands of extrajudicial killings, in fact, was detained after returning from Hong Kong. The ICC's investigation spans his time as Davao's mayor to his presidency. A new global report reveals that 83%, in fact, of cities worldwide fail to meet air pollution standards, with India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Chad and Congo having the worst air quality in the world. Now, the report by Switzerland-based IQ Air analyzed data from over 40,000 monitoring stations across 138 countries. Bindihar in northeastern India was ranked the most polluted city globally. Experts warn the real pollution levels could be even higher, in fact, due to limited monitoring, especially in Africa. Meanwhile, the WHO estimates air pollution kills around 7 million people every year. Listen in.
So there's so much research out there on various health consequences of air pollution, but I just would like to highlight 2 things here. The first one is that there's now some studies that link air pollution to Alzheimer's disease. So we normally associate air pollution to respiratory illness, right? That's what the general public normally thinks of. But air pollution affects more than just your lungs. And the second is that some air pollutants are classified as carcinogens, so basically cancer-causing.
Cyclone Jude crashed through Mozambique Monday, causing widespread damage to infrastructure, leaving people homeless and without power for causing flooding. Making landfall in the early hours of the morning, locals were taken aback by its severity. The United Nations Children's Fund, or the UNICEF, has in fact been working alongside the government to distribute emergency aid kits and other forms of help to those affected. Listen in.
Chuva inakwenda Duterte stata criança da stata seguir ir à escola. Eu tenho como nem para comprar pão, nem para comprar nada. Chuva está a cair só, não para.
It's time we slip into a short break. See you on the other side.
If you won't do it for you, do it for your grandchild, who's mad you didn't hear her joke.
Book a free hearing test at bootshearingcare.com.
Transform hard chairs and surfaces into comfy seats with SoftSitter from JML. The lightweight and portable gel cushion that helps provide all-day comfort and support no matter where you sit. Its clever hexagonal honeycomb construction cushions, distributes and supports your weight. And its breathable design allows air to circulate, helping to keep you cool. Perfect for all types of seats or as a kneeling pad. Get the comfort and support you need with SoftSitter. Only $14.99 from Asda, Boots, Morrisons, Tesco and JMLdirect.com.
The war in Ukraine continues to put children in terrible danger. Homes, schools and hospitals have been destroyed, energy supplies cut off. Families are still displaced from their homes, now facing a harsh winter without warm clothes, fuel and shelter. To find out how you can help, search UNICEF Ukraine online or text WINTER to 84901. In my years reporting on war, I've seen its impact on children. But I've seen how UNICEF makes a difference day by day. UNICEF is providing warm clothes, boots and blankets to keep children and babies warm, and generators and fuel to help power vital services. £32 could help provide warm winter clothes for a baby or young child. Search UNICEF Ukraine or text WINTER to 84901 and help make a difference for children today.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo, even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
Who do I trust for business insurance?
If you need business insurance, join nearly 1 million customers who trust
Nescafe Frothy Coffees, because sometimes nothing tastes better than a no. With a creamy, long-lasting froth to get you ready for your next yes. Say yes to our best-tasting cappuccino. And now, get ready to mix things up with new Nescafe Kit Kat Latte.
Welcome back. You're watching the World Report on NDTV. US stock markets cratered on Monday with investors fearful that the economy could be headed, in fact, into a recession. Now, why is this a big deal? Because this could put new pressures on consumer confidence and the Trump administration, all just days ahead of a possible government shutdown. Wall Street's worst day of 2025 came as Chinese tariffs on American goods took effect and Ontario added a 25% surcharge on its energy exports to 3 states of the US. Tesla CEO Elon Musk admitted struggling to balance his Tesla leadership and role in the Trump administration as the EV sales shares dropped 15%, wiping out $130 billion in market value. Investors fear Musk's involvement in Trump's government is impacting his business focus. The sharp decline erased gains from Tesla's post-election rally. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy will visit Boeing's factory in Renton, Washington to review, in fact, the company's safety standards after recent mishaps. Now, this comes 6 years after a deadly Ethiopian Airlines crash and weeks after a mid-air panel blowout on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX jet. Boeing CEO will testify before Congress next month. Apple is preparing a major software overhaul for its iPhones, iPad and Macs, aiming to unify their interfaces. According to Bloomberg, the new design will align Apple devices with its Vision Pro mixed reality headset, creating a more consistent user experience, as the company claims. Changes could include new icons, menus, and system navigation tools as well. The company is expected to unveil the update at its Worldwide Developers Conference in June. Now, the move comes as Apple faces growing demand for its hardware and growing competition, in fact, from other AI-powered devices and players. SpaceX founder Elon Musk is blaming a powerful cyber attack for the major outage faced by social media platform X. On Monday, in fact, thousands of users reported being unable to access the platform for hours together. Musk said the attack involved a lot of resources, suggesting a large group or even a state actor could be behind it. However, cybersecurity experts are skeptical. Nothing similar denial of service attacks can often be carried out by smaller groups. Down Detector reported over 39,000 users were affected at the peak of this outage. By evening, the numbers dropped to around 1,500. The Trump 2.0 administration has launched a new app aiming at encouraging undocumented immigrants to voluntarily leave the U.S. Now, this app, called CBP Home, allows migrants to signal their intent to self-deport, potentially avoiding detention and future legal consequences. The Department of Homeland Security's Secretary Kristi Noem said that those who use the app may have a chance to return legally in the future. However, those who do not will face arrests and lifetime bans. Critics have said that the app is inhumane, but Trump has promised record deportations during his second term. AI startup CoreWeave has signed a $11.9 billion deal with OpenAI to provide infrastructure services, boosting its valuation ahead of its planned IPO. As part of the deal, OpenAI will receive $350 million in CoreWeave shares. CoreWeave's revenue skyrocketed in 2024, making it one of the most sought-after AI companies in the US. Apple and Meta could reportedly soon face fines from the European Union for violating the Digital Markets Act, a law aimed at curbing big tech's dominance. The EU began investigating both companies last year for possible non-compliance with the act. The law, enforced in 2023, requires tech giants to ensure easier access to smaller competitors. However, according to reports, the fines will likely be modest and far from the maximum 10% of their global revenues. This comes amid growing US-EU tension, as President Trump recently warned against penalizing American firms. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has decided to drop a controversial plan that would have forced some cryptocurrency platforms to register as trading systems. Acting SEC Chief Mark Uyeda says the proposal made in 2022 was initially aimed at regulating the U.S. Treasury market, but was later expanded to include cryptocurrencies as well. Now, Uyeda called it a mistake and has directed the staff to scrap the plan altogether. The move comes as the Trump administration signals a softer stance on crypto regulations, a major shift from the Biden era's tougher rules. 7 medical professionals who treated Argentine football legend Diego Maradona before his death are now facing trial for homicide. Now, the case, beginning today in Bureau's Aries, centers around allegations of medical negligence. Prosecutors claim the doctors failed to provide proper care ultimately leading to Maradona's death in 2020, just weeks after a brain surgery. The defendants, meanwhile, include Maradona's brain surgeon, psychiatrist, and nurses, all of whom deny any wrongdoing. If convicted, they could face up to 25 years in prison. AP reporter Isabel Debray brings you more. Take a look.
A homicide trial relating to the death of soccer legend Diego Maradona is now getting underway outside of Argentina's capital of Buenos Aires. On trial are members of the medical team that was looking after Maradona in the weeks leading up to November 25th, 2020, when the soccer star at the age of 60 died of cardiac arrest while recovering from brain surgery. Although Maradona was known to have struggled for many years with alcohol and drug addictions as well as various health problems, the prosecution ultimately concluded that the doctors who were responsible for his care were negligent and said that his death could have been avoided. The 7 that are standing trial include his neurosurgeon, his psychiatrist, psychologist, and nurses, and they all deny any wrongdoing, saying instead that Maradona was a difficult patient that did not allow himself to be treated. The trial is expected to last several months.
Australia is unlikely to bid for the 2030 Commonwealth Games, citing the proximity to the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. The Australian Commonwealth Games Association has said that hosting another major event just 2 years apart would be commercially challenging for the country. The land down under has in fact already hosted the Games twice this century, and with escalating costs, the focus is now entirely on the Olympics. Meanwhile, the 2026 Games will take place in Glasgow after Victoria pulled out due to high expenses. Spain's Carlos Alcaraz stormed into the 4th round of the India Wells tournament with a convincing 6-2, 6-4 victory over Canada's Denis Shapovalov. Alcaraz is aiming, in fact, for his 3rd consecutive title at Indian Wells, a feat only achieved by Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. Up next, Alcaraz will face either Grigor Dimitrov or Gael Monfils, while world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka also advanced with a dominant straight-set win. French luxury fashion house Pierre Cardin show a new take on space-age designs at the Paris Fashion Week Monday evening. The Fall-Winter 2025 collection from CEO and Artistic Director Rodrigo Basilicati Cardin celebrated the futuristic heritage, bold creativity, and innovative spirit of the house. The visionary collection showcased futuristic, exaggerated silhouettes with pops of puce, royal blue, canary yellow, gold, and mauve. Astronaut channeling models sported space-age headgear and even capes over their form-fitting suits to create an out-of-the-world look. Robert Redford returned to acting after 6 years for a cameo in the acclaimed TV series Dark Winds Sunday. Redford appeared in a quick chess scene with author George R. Martin, whose books in fact were adapted into Game of Thrones. The two are executive producers on the AMC show, which debuted season 3 Sunday. 88-year-old Redford last appeared in fact on screen in 2019's Avengers Endgame to reprise his role from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. In 2018, he publicly announced he was retired from acting, but then said he regretted making the definitive statement because you never know. Toni Collette surprised fans at the screening of a breakout film, Muriel's Wedding, on Friday. The Australian actor danced to ABBA before introducing a 1994 romantic comedy at the Glasgow Film Festival. She shared her memories of making the film when she was 21 years old, stood next to the festival director, Alison Gardner, who's retiring. The Glasgow Film Festival concluded on Sunday. Well, that's all we have for you today. Take care and have a wonderful Tuesday.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing. And that's exactly the way he'd want to be remembered.
At Co-op Funeral Care, we know everyone is different. That's why we offer funeral plans to funeral services that are personal, every step of the way.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Well, this is sick.
Get your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI and save up to £744 when you trade in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra on 3. Life needs a big network.
Visit bingoaliens.com/bingo for a cosmic range of bingo games, taking bingo to another dimension at bingoaliens.com/bingo.
Don't you have Watchdog Lock? No! What's that? Don't be a victim, yeah. Get Watchdogs, 3-star solid secure diamond locks. They are anti-pick, anti-snap, anti-bar. बोले तो fully anti-चोर. जब तक जोड़ेंगे नहीं, तब तक छोड़ेंगे.
From tech titan to global philanthropist, Bill Gates has had a huge impact on the lives of millions across the world. As the co-founder of Microsoft, he's in a sense defined what personal computing has been for all of us. The vision that he had of the personal computer way back in the 70s and its evolution and the transformation of Microsoft has been fundamental in terms of tech, in terms of IT, in terms of the entire sector. And it's time now for Mr. Gates to pen his thoughts down, which is why he's come out with this. This is the first of 3 books. It's called Source Code, My Beginnings, and it's my great privilege to be over here in Palm Springs, in California, to speak about this. Thank you, and I'm delighted to be over here, fly all the way across the world, and I've had a chance to really go through this book. It's very, very interesting.
Thank you.
One of the primary themes which I found throughout the book has to do with your own intensity. The fact that you've always been driven. I mean, we know that as a fact, but we perhaps didn't know about the extent to which you were focused. And you write, for example, and I quote, "Like one of those watertight hatches on a submarine, I could shut out the rest of the world. Driven by the sense of responsibility I felt for Microsoft, I had closed the hatch door and locked the wheel. No girlfriend, no hobbies. My social life centered around Paul, Rick, and the people we worked with. It was the one way I knew to stay ahead." Could you tell us about how your focus ultimately resulted in you being the Bill Gates we know today?
Well, part of my makeup, even from a young age, was that if something was fascinated, I could really dig in on it. So, learning to play cards with my grandmother, having books read to me, reading books, and mathematics early on fascinated me, and so I went into depth. But then I took that to a new